Got it?
Got it.
Okay, and then honorable council members, I did want to let you know that I checked my email when I came back to work, and I did forward an additional resume and letter of interest.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this is the closed study, I'm sorry, this is the open study session for Dearborn Heights City Council, January 19th, 2021, 6 p.m. Would anybody like to go first?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And a lot has happened over this last year. A lot has happened just in the last couple of weeks. And I think the one thing we all agree on is this city council has a very important decision to make. And I think that it's nothing that anybody should be rushed into. I think there needs to be at least a few days for everyone to review the resumes that have been submitted and possibly talk to the different applicants and make this very important decision. So I would just indicate that the appointment of a mayor be held at our next regular meeting after proper notice, compliance with the Open Meetings Act and so forth.
I have a tendency to agree. I want to handle this in a way to make sure that people are comfortable with our selection. This is one of the most important decisions we will make, and we need to give it a lot of thought before we do something. First of all, we need to schedule appointment times like we have in the past to interview the people and give them a certain amount of time. That was not requested when the study session was scheduled. So at this point, and thank you for raising your hand, Councilman. I'm going to ask everybody. Councilman Muscat.
Thank you, Council Chair. Our charter is very specific on what we need to do here. Our charter said nothing about having to post, send out, read resumes or anything. Our charter says we shall appoint a new mayor. And how we talked about this last time, why we need to have a special meeting to go through procedures when the charter is our procedure. That's first and foremost. And when we discussed things on the agenda for a special meeting, the special meeting was to vote for an appointment to that office. Okay. And I just don't understand why all of a sudden we're just deviating from everything that we're supposed to do. Okay, our charter is very specific. Okay, and it doesn't say that we have, like I'm saying, I'm gonna repeat it again. We did not have to go out and post, even though we did. And this meeting, this special meeting after this study session was supposed to be voting for the appointment of mayor. And it was failed to put on the agenda, and I'm very, very disappointed on how that worked out. As far as I know, that last Thursday, everything was set, and I don't understand how it got changed. I would like to know from you or the city clerk how this happened.
Well, the city clerk to answer that. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Okay, Councilman Muscat, thank you very much. I was going to wait until this is more appropriate time. I was going to wait and discuss this at public comments in the meeting, because this is something that I have been trying to work on since, I guess, taking the position. As you know, that I was the city council secretary beforehand, and I know that your honorable body wants to be clear and concise and transparent about everything that goes on in the city. And I don't know if it's Zoom or if it's just so many people, everybody, coming and going, but we start to talk about something and we're all passionate about it. But when it comes to making the motion, we have to be precise on that motion, because that's what's recorded in our minutes. So at last week's meeting, it was discussed what you wanted, not you particularly, but what the body wanted. But when it came down to making that motion, it was only to set up Because Dana and I have listened to it 5 times just to make sure that what our audience sees on Zoom, on YouTube is the same thing that is written in the minutes. So the motion read, Councilman Muscat, motion by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Abdullah to set up a special meeting for next Tuesday. And authorize the city clerk to electronically send out the documents necessary to advertise for the mayoral appointment. It would be sufficient to do this electronically. So it really didn't say, yes, you guys discussed it prior, but it didn't say in the motion. Okay, so we have to, as the official record keepers, write down exactly what was said. So what I was going to say in the meeting was, before Mayor Pletko passed away, I had talked with Chrissy and she talked to him about clarifying. I think it would be better for the council for the whole city, for the department heads, for the city council, for the mayor and for the treasurer, to have a study session on how we're going to proceed so that we're all on the same page when it comes to these things and we're not having meetings upon meetings about the same item.
So the special meeting means absolutely nothing. We shouldn't even have a special meeting.
It just said special meting. And
Okay.
and that's what
a special meeting for 2 items. This is not, I don't like this. I object to it. And it's just not right. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel. And I was hoping for more. We had instances with trying to get a corporation council, and we're not even in the ballpark here with this special meeting.
I totally understand. That's why I want to, hopefully your honorable body will, we can sit down and we can discuss this so that this doesn't happen. It's very frustrating when we come in on Wednesday and we have to listen to, because everything you say is important, but we only can put in that motion what was actually stated. And I think this would be better for the department head, so we don't have to bring a contract back to you for a signature. I mean, overall, just overall.
So what's the study session for? You've got it all down. We should just go to the meeting right now. There's no procedure to set up a procedure. You got you have all the people that are going to put in for it. It's there. Let's go to the meeting.
I think that's up to council chair.
I have one of the applicants is having trouble getting in. They have advised me they can't get in. I think at this point in time, I'd like Madam Clerk, as we have done in the past, to set up times and allow so many minutes for each member to speak, and do that at a future meeting before next Tuesday. And then we vote next Tuesday at the meeting. That gives everybody enough time to do their due diligence. Like I said, this is one of the most important decisions we will ever make, and we want the residents to know that we really checked into it. At this time, I have Councilman Abdullah.
Council Chair, just to clarify in regards to the charter, the only thing that we are obligated to do as council members is to pick a qualified, and the key word they put on there is qualified, which means it's at our discretion who is qualified, resident of the city of Dearborn Heights, to appoint them as mayor when they're, upon somebody leaving office. In this particular case, may rest in peace our former mayor, Dan Pletko. We can even, if we wanted to, if we decide as a body today, we could even pick somebody today. Somebody can make a motion to put this on the agenda. Somebody can approve that motion, second that motion, and then we could vote at that particular time. So we don't necessarily have to wait until the next council meeting, unless our body as a whole decided to do that, which is fine by me. But I can tell you this, no later than next Tuesday, we got to make a decision on this. And I'm really, really concerned, just as concerned, because I think it's just as important. And I don't mean in terms of position, but our city council position too has been dragged on and on and on. And I'm not blaming somebody specifically. I'm just saying we are right now into our, I think it's like 4th or 5th or 6th, total meetings, probably 3rd or 4th meeting. And we still have not picked a city council member. And we keep going 3-3 for votes, and nobody's coming in. And meanwhile, the problem with that is we've got 6 council members, and we cannot come to any type of agreement because you have an even number of council members. So therefore, we can't come into any type of agreement on mayor or anything else. So I hope and pray with all of us council members, myself included, we could get to a position where we could pick a council member to get on and mayor to get on no later than next Tuesday. But I am prepared to vote on that today if we decide as a body. Thank you.
Constant,
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I'm hearing is I hate to say it, but particularly from Councilman Muscat, is just ridiculous. I mean, I've seen someone do a complete 180 regarding our city attorney and everything else. This is an important decision. On any of the other positions, we took applications, we did background checks, we looked at resumes. We all agree we've got to appoint a new mayor, but it has not even been 30 days. I heard the councilman say the charter does not require A, B, or C. The charter requires us to appoint a qualified person, a resident, an elector, and there's nothing in the charter that prohibits a business-like, proper notice to the public, interviews, and appointment of a new mayor. It's that simple. And we have not been able to choose a new council person only because we've had a dead tie after 2 or 3 votes. And, that is what it is. It's not due to any delay, but in fact, the charter contemplates 2 situations. One where the mayor is disabled and unavailable, but may come back, and it has a 30-day requirement. And then it also contemplates a situation where the mayor resigns, dies, is just not going to come back. The 30 days hasn't even passed, and to try to rush and try to have this council, some of the members, this is their first term, vote in a replacement. I am the only council person that was around when the last time when Mayor Ruth Canfield resigned, and there was far more discussion, far more dialogue. And back then the council came to a consensus and voted for the new mayor. It was 7-0. So if someone wants to rush and appoint someone for mayor to give one person an advantage, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's proper. I don't think that's what the public wants. Thank you.
Wenzel? Councilman Wenzel?
Oh, hi. Yeah. As far as going through an interview with the candidates, the 4 or 5 that we have, I don't think there's anything they could tell us in an interview that we don't know already about them, because we know all of them pretty well. And secondly, I mean, they're probably all on the Zoom tonight, so they could, if they had to tell us a little story about them themselves, they could do that tonight. And I'm just unclear. One thing I'm unclear about is voting is the number of votes it takes. Is it 4 votes, or is it the majority of the present? We haven't determined that yet. I just don't want to, I'm ready to vote tonight myself, but there's 6 of us here tonight, right? 6 members. So 4 would be a majority. Same, okay. Anyway, that's the 3 things I wanted to mention. Thank you.
My point is, I understand we just got a late application and I don't even know who it is. I haven't had a chance to go to my email because I've been on the Zoom screen. In all fairness, we need to give that person a chance too. We didn't get these applications till late this afternoon, and it's not the clerk's fault. She had something she was doing with an audit and she couldn't get away from it to get to her desk. So I don't feel that we had these applications long enough to read them through thoroughly and investigate or do our due diligence and, possibly even do a background check if we felt that was necessary. So I think we should definitely vote next week. I think we should possibly, if we want, schedule the appointments on Monday, because We also have one candidate that's not even in here, and we know him, but we don't know him. I don't know him enough to vote without talking to him and asking him questions. At this time, I'm going to call on Councilman Muscat.
I just want to say something, Mr. Constant. I don't do any background checks, anybody. That's your forte. You do a lot of background checks and try to dig up negative comments about people running against you.
Okay, we're not going to have any more attacks. This is getting out
I'm
of
not
hand.
Not at all,
Anybody,
not at all.
Okay, guys, point of order, please. Please, let's just keep it nice tonight. So is there any further discussion? This time, I guess we'll end the study session and we'll all come back at 7 for the meeting.
Sounds
Do
good
you
to
want
me.
any comments? Were you going to open it for
Okay,
comments? or no?
yes, I'm going to do public comment. You have 3 minutes and you need to raise your hand because there's too many people in here. Waving is not going to work at this time. Unfortunately, we've got a lot of people.
Council Chair.
Okay,
No, this is not a comment, but I think maybe some people in the audience don't know how to raise their hand the official way. So maybe explain to them in regards to participants and what to do just in case for those that don't know.
at this point, we'll take the people with their hands already raised, and then after that's done, then we'll try and explain to people how they can go ahead and raise it. Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask you to read that thing about public comments.
Okay. The procedure for addressing the council during the comment section of public comment shall be as follows. Any member of the public who wants to address the council shall begin doing so by stating his or her name, the street he or she lives on, and the municipality in which he or she resides. He or she shall have up to 3 minutes to address the council.
And anyone attacking a council member will be muted and forfeit the remaining time. That's important. At this time, we have Greg. Go ahead, please. Greg, oops, somebody unmute him.
Hello, my name is Greg Stearman, live on Berwyn Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. And I agree that you need to take some time. You need to look at the candidates. I like the idea about background checks. I mean, you're talking about a mayor of a city, and there's private companies that do background checks on their employees. And I agree that you need to take your time and do this in an orderly fashion.
We want to know.
And I mean, I don't even know who is running. Who are the candidates? Are the people of the city going to be told who is running?
We can tell the company.
And are we going to have any choice or any opportunity to have input toward those candidates to the council? Or are we just going to look at the council and hope they get it right? So I agree that it should not be voted on tonight. I think that you guys need to interview these people, not just go by what you think you know about the people today. And that's the way I feel. There's, like I say, out in the private sector, you're going for a job, you go through an interview. And for someone that's important as a mayor of this city, that's the least I would expect. Thank you very much.
Abdullah, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just quickly, I'm glad this particular resident brought this up. And I think, honestly, I don't know if it was an oversight on all of our behalfs, but I totally agree with them. I think the residents should know who the candidates are, because we've known of them, and yes, we've known of them officially, just so that you know, Greg, as of this morning, the deadline was 10 a.m. this morning. So early this afternoon is when we received different candidates from the clerk. So we've just officially found out about them today, although obviously we've all had different conversations. Different people have called us and rumors and what have you as to who the candidates are. But yes, I do believe, Council Chair, if you don't mind, if you could maybe read a list of who the candidates are. I think our residents deserve to at least know who they are.
Madam Clerk, do you have that available?
Okay, we have, ready? Anthony Camilleri. We have Bill Bazzi. We have Denise Malinowski Maxwell. We have Chrissy Laszlo. And we have David Kniezek. Is that 5?
Yes.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, I don't
Councilman?
know. I don't know. I think an additional thing, because obviously these names are all familiar to a lot of us on the city council, but I think as an additional item, I don't know if we should put the resumes maybe online to where the residents can to them, because it's not fair to just have residents have to Google every name. I think they should have access to the same information
Have
we
to
have.
check on that one.
I think the thing about the interview process is where they verbally tell you everything about them. And they will go through what's on their resume, and that way it's out there for everybody to hear, because some people may not have internet access at times.
Right, but I respectfully disagree with that, because I think every resume should be on there. Every piece of information should be on there. I've looked at the resumes that we received so far. I've not looked at the latest one that was just sent, but I looked at the resumes that we received so far. And for me, as I'm sure for a lot of other council members, we found out things that we probably didn't know. There was things that I found out I didn't know about a couple of the candidates. So I think the residents should be able to see that. Now, if a particular participant or candidate does not want the public to know about it, then it's at their discretion to say, no, don't put it online. But I think it should be available to everybody to see, in my opinion. Because otherwise what would happen, let's just use a random name, Joe Smith. For them to look up Joe Smith, there's 3 million Joe Smiths. They're not going to know if it's the right one. They're not going to be able to look up a lot of information on them. And then it's just not going to go good. It's much better for them to get their resumes and whatever we have access to, and then to also see the interviews. And then I do want the residents and their input as far as who they feel we should select. That, in my eyes, that would play a role for sure. Thank you.
Okay, this is public comment. At this time, we are calling on Lisa Hicks Clayton. I'm sorry, Treasurer Hicks Clayton.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I want to say good evening to everyone, but I come to you tonight. I want to appeal to you as elected officials. I do not wish to offend anyone at all. I've sat where you're sitting for over 9 years. You have a very difficult decision ahead of you. It's an extremely important decision. Probably one of the most important we probably have had in over 4 to 5 years. I want to remind you, our community has experienced a great loss of our mayor, who served this community for over 40 years. He brought stability and knowledge. The city has experienced several changes over the last 6 to 8 months. You have a new city clerk, a new comptroller, a new treasurer, and now you have a decision before you to appoint a new mayor. Our community needs our leadership to rally behind stabilizing the city and begin the healing process. Stabilization is the buzzword for the night. I remind our council members that the city of Dearborn Heights is in the process of securing a municipal bond, if you recall, for the CSO projects. During this process, I'm going to tell you that part of the process is a mandatory rating review for the city of Dearborn Heights, which will affect our bond rating. They will look at our financial records. They'll look at how stable we are financially, current fiscal health and fiscal stability. But do you know what else I want you to know that they will look at? I have been informed that they will Google search and look up everything that's going on in our city, and they will consider those factors that I just shared with you about stability. It's not uncommon for them to research that kind of information and for it to be reviewed. So what am I asking you? Please, I implore you to vote and make a decision to appoint to fill the mayor's term and my council seat. If you don't do it tonight, because I understand and I fully support due diligence. I implore you to please vote by Tuesday, January 26th. Thank you.
Have Charles Blackwell. Go ahead, sir. You have 2 minutes. I'm sorry,
Hi.
3 minutes.
Hi, yes, this is Charles Blackwell. I'm a Farmington Hills resident. I want to state that I believe that the city clerk should post the resumes of the candidates for mayor. If the city does not voluntarily post those resumes, I will file a FOIA request for those resumes because they are public records and I will post them online. So I hope that the city just voluntarily does it on their own, because if not, I'll file a FOIA request for them. Second thing I want to state is that every member of the city council should go home, or you're at home already tonight, and ask yourselves, what are we doing here? How do you set up a special meeting that serves no purpose and you're not even voting on anything here? I mean, that's just like a lack of communication between yourselves and the clerk, where you set up a meeting and you have members wanting to vote on something. It's not even on the agenda. I mean, these gridlocks needs to be solved, is because you're just spinning your wheels meeting after meeting after meeting, talking about replacing the mayor, talking about replacing corporation council. The city needs to move forward. Thank you.
Fade Dune.
Hello and thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. I had no intention of speaking today. First of all, I want to say that I have very good relationships with some of the council members that have spoken today. Very good with them. I'm a little disappointed in one of the council members who, filled an appointed seat, who happened to say that that we shouldn't. That everyone knows who's on, who's running, and there's no need to, I felt that was very disingenuous, because, and I echo the words of my fellow resident Greg and his family, who shared those very similar concerns. Democracy dies behind closed doors. There are 172 people in this Zoom call right now that should hear every single candidate that, interview. They should hear the credentials. I know that Councilman Dave Abdullah shared that earlier. The thought that, that we would be above, our public servant, right? You serve the public, you serve us, the residents of Dearborn Heights. And so, like I said, we can agree to disagree on certain things. Like I said, I respect a lot of these council members, but that last thing that was said about, we know everyone that's running. No, I not everyone knows everyone that's running. And there's 174, I keep looking, it goes up, individuals who demand that good governance, democracy happens in public. At least give us that opportunity. And I yield, and I thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Muscat.
Um, someone mentioned a 10 o'clock deadline. Was there a 10 o'clock deadline?
No, the 10 a.m., they said that the resumes, as I recall, the resumes had to be in, as I recall, by 10 a.m. There's something.
Did everybody get their resumes in by 10 a.m.?
I'm not the clerk, so I don't know.
I'm asking Madam Clerk if everybody got their resumes in by 10 a.m.
No.
So
But then
we've
again,
got,
the whole process is up to you guys.
well, I thought that's what never mind.
Thank you. Let me reset this up.
And Councilman Muscat, I put that on there just so that I could forward it to you guys. You guys didn't direct me to that, but I knew the meeting was tonight at 7.
Okay, thank you.
So you didn't direct me to. I mean, I took out the presentation part on it because I didn't have, because a process wasn't set up.
The process was the charter. I keep saying that.
Right.
The process is the charter.
Okay. And I understand.
And we're totally going away from it. I'm
No, we're
sorry.
not.
It's true. And I can't believe that anybody else can't see that. The process is the charter. So we can just
It's
throw the
wide
charter
open.
away from now on. We don't have to abide by it at all.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
Public comment.
Are you answering Councilman Muscat or are you public commenting?
Don't we have more people out there waiting?
Okay, yes, I'm trying to get Leslie Winless. She keeps jumping down the line here on me. I'm trying to ask her to unmute. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name's Leslie Winless. I live at 23469 Annapolis Street in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, 48125. I wanted to, I raised my hand like towards the beginning. I heard a lot of other people pretty much say everything I was going to say, but I guess I still wanted to talk and echo what they're saying, which is that I don't think a process like this should be rushed. I think if you guys, set a deadline for the city council seat that was open after Lisa left and allow for resumes to be brought in, and then you interviewed, and then we all got to watch that, and then you guys voted. I felt like that was a spirit of transparency. I don't know why it would be different for a position that has, more responsibility than a city council seat. So if you guys have already set a deadline, well, one, I think you should honor the deadline. If you sent it out that it was due at 10 a.m., then only the resumes that were sent by 10 a.m. should be reviewed. Second, I think that the interview should be public like it was for a city council seat, so the rest of us could hear the questions and hear the answers to the questions. And then I think you guys should vote on it. And if you're proposing to vote on it at the 26th meeting, you would have to schedule the interview prior to the 26th. The last thing I want to say is that another reason why I think residents are so interested is because there are a lot of things like Treasurer Lisa Hicks Clayton brought up that are going on in the city that require people who are aware of what's going on. So that's one reason why I think that we all want to hear the interview answers to the questions, because there's so much going on that we can't take somebody that needs a bunch of training. So I think if you heard most of the residents speak and you hear me speak, we really would like you guys to take your time, look over the cover letters. I agree with Charles Blackwell. The resumes and everything should be public so that we can all make an informed decision and make an informed public comment when it is time to vote for the mayor. And I can't remember who it was, but somebody else already pointed out that we have 30 days. And I yield the rest of my time.
I think you got Zohair trying to wave his hand down there too, if you don't have him yet.
Okay, because I got the hands at the top. Gary Miyake, please.
Yeah, Gary Miyake, Plainfield Street. Just a couple of things. One, for anyone who wants to participate, like for me, you go to the right side of your screen on the top and hit more, and then it'll come down on the screen and it shows raise hand. So I think that's actually really important and probably should be something that the council chair or the clerk points out at the beginning of these public comment sections, because we've had a lot of people who've tried to participate and some people have felt like they haven't been called. The second thing is that it is a 2-minute limit for study sessions, not 3 minutes. I mean, certainly the body could end up making a decision about that, and it's limited to what the topics that are part of the study session concern. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Can't hear you, Council Chair.
Mary Labovich.
Yes, Council Chair, this is Steve Lobkovich. I'm on Mary's computer though. Thanks for your time. One thing I would like to say is a longtime resident and past employee of the city of Dearborn Heights is that I truly appreciate the council taking as much time as necessary to make an informed decision about filling the vacancy in the mayor's office. That is such an important position that rushing into that and trying to rush a vote in one night or in just a couple of nights is actually absurd. I will say this though, Mr. Muscat is correct. The charter does give you the guidance and the responsibility to fill that position. However, it does not state that it needs to be done in 1 day or 1 week. It gives you 30 days to make a proper appointment. So with that, I appreciate your time, and I would appreciate if the council take their time to make a proper decision. Thank you, and I yield my time.
In God we trust.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Sam, Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Wayne County, Garland Street. Just to clarify to what Mr. Muscat has mentioned and to echo what he said, according to the publication that the clerk have posted online, it says the letter of interest and resume must be received in the office of the city clerk no later than 10 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday, January 19, 2021. So it's given up a specific date and specific time. Going back to the main point that everybody keeps mentioning, 1 week doesn't bother, let the council take their time. We do have 30 days. The mayor deceased 19 days ago. So we have wasted 19 days. We cannot wait for another week. We always pointed fingers, and the majority of you council members have pointed fingers at the mayor. You're always going to bring us a last minute thing. You're always going to bring us a last minute thing. We don't want to do the same mistake that was done in the past. So let's get it done. Let's vote on it and get it over with. Thank you.
Next, I have Robert Constant.
Madam Chair, all I want to say is any argument that the charter requires that we vote immediately, we have always, for any position, posted, considered everybody, held interviews. It's just the business-like way to do it. For clerk, for treasurer, it's the 30 days set forth in the charter has not even passed yet. So to say by taking applications, by considering everybody, by possibly holding interviews, by letting some time pass before we vote is not following the charter is ridiculous. It's just the opposite. We, just like any business, we have to follow the business practices that we followed in the past.
Next, we have Nadia Janoun.
Hi, this is Nadia Noon, live on Whitefield Street in Dearborn Heights. You know, Mr. Muscat mentioned something about the deadline being 10 o'clock. I'm sure if you guys are aware of the charter, there is no real application process and there's no deadline required by the charter. So 10 o'clock deadline is irrelevant. You
Correct.
could nominate Mickey Mouse right now if there's a motion on the table and the council could, you know, vote on it. I don't feel that it is a waste of our time, even if it means waiting till the last day to pick the right person. You know, you can say it's a waste of time. We've waited all this time. Well, I don't feel that way. I feel like the council has a duty, just as we do as a school board. We went through an entire process to make sure that we pick the right person to lead our school district. Now, this council is working for thousands and thousands of residents. You guys work for us, and it's your job to pick the right person to lead the city, not make decisions based on who you feel personally is the best person for the job. You have a duty to pick who's going to lead 50 to 60,000 residents. And I'm sick and tired of watching the games being played. I'm really sick of it, but thank you.
Blackburn. Michael Blackburn.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mike Blackburn, Arnold Street, Dearborn Heights, Wayne County, Michigan. I want to preface that before you read the names off, I had raised my hand. So my question has nothing to do with the names that were raised off. But I feel, and this is a question for an attorney, is a background check actually, can you legally do background checks on people for a criminal record? Is that the background check that you're looking for? Because I don't think, as for an elected position, that is a requirement for an elected position. And I want to say that I don't think that if it's a criminal background check that you're going at, that it is legal. I also want to say that the flaw in the charter is for not for appointing an elected position like we have had lately. There are no timelines in the charter. I think sometime in the near future, there should be a chart.
We can't hear you.
A resident and an employee, I want you guys to do whatever you can to make the right decision the first time. And if it means waiting a couple more meetings, the sooner the better. But I think rushing it is a bad mistake, and that's it.
Oh, hello. Good evening, everybody. Sam Aljami, Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Wayne County. I think the council shouldn't give in to the pressure of those saying the council needs to wait to vote. At the beginning of this meeting, there were comments about, oh, there's so many people here. Well, there's so many people here because this is an important issue and it shouldn't be an issue that's rushed. Mr. Beydoun was right when he says democracy dies behind closed doors. And I agree with Councilman Abdullah that we need to make the mayoral candidates' information public. Thank you.
Can't hear you, Council Chair.
Councilman Constant?
Briefly, the rule is if we want to do criminal background checks, we have to say to the applicants, by applying, you agree to a criminal background check. If they don't, then we can't do it. That's commonly what's done. There's a Court of Appeals case right on point involving the city of Dearborn. But if we, to answer Mr. Blackburn's question, if when we say to the applicants, if you're submitting your name, you have to agree to a background check. And then if someone says, I don't want to agree to a background check, we don't do a background check, and we take that into account when we review their application. But that's the response to that. Thank you.
Thank you. And I was going to say, the only reason I said that is I spoke with a parliamentarian earlier and she suggested to suggest that and throw it out there. It's not necessary. And that was the only reason I brought it up. Councilman Muscat, you already spoke, right?
Well, so did Robert Constant about 3-4 times.
Go ahead.
Well, they asked a legal question.
I just want to make an announcement about how to raise your hand, because some people just don't know how to do it. And we got people that are waving their hand like Zohair Abdul-Haq. So what I'm going to say is, down at the bottom of the screen on Zoom, if you go down there and put your cursor down there, it says participants. Click on participants. And then over on the right-hand side where the participants show up, it'll say raise hand. The council chair then will see your hand raised. She will lower it, not because she doesn't want you to talk. It puts you in an order. And from my understanding is Mr. Abdul-Haq doesn't have that feature. And I don't know if everybody else has it, but it should be there. A council chair is not lowering your hand so you don't speak. She's just putting it in order. Just want to make that clear, okay? She's been accused in the past about lowering people's hands, and it's not that she doesn't want you to speak.
Stella?
Well, I just want to clarify, Madam Chair, Mayor Pro Tem, in regards to a background check, yes, we can. I mean, the discretion per the charter is on us as far as what we want to do and how we want to do it and when we want to do it. So there's no guidelines other than a qualified person. And that word is basically up to us what is considered qualified. And then the person has to be a resident of Dearborn Heights. Beyond that, there's no other quote unquote criteria that we have to follow per the charter. So therefore, a background check is at our discretion if we want to do one or not. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I just want to clarify for some of the residents that you don't have to. And that's very similar to when you get elected, when you run for election, just like when I ran for election. And yes, you could do a background check. You won't find nothing. I'm not worried about it, but just as an FYI, they don't do a background check when you are an elected official. So I just wanted to put that out there to clarify it. And I think somebody, either the our clerk or maybe yourself, should clarify this 30-day thing, because that 30-day thing keeps coming up, and it seems like every resident has got a totally different idea as to what that stands for. So I think, Madam Clerk, if you clarify what that is for, I think it'd be a good idea for our residents to hear. Many mentioned it in maybe the wrong way.
I don't have the charter in front of me, but from what I understand, that 30 days is just for after the 30 days, the mayor pro tem salary is reviewed. And I think it's up to you guys whether or not, correct me if I'm wrong, HR or Mr. Miyake, I believe that's what it's for. There's no limit on or no time constraint on when the appointment has to be made.
Correct. I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yes,
Next
that's
we
what
have-
that's what I took from it.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Next we have Sue. Sue, where are you?
Hi, I'm here. Thank you, Madam Pro Temp, and to the esteemed council. I just want to thank you for the hard work that you're doing. And I, as a school board member, totally understand how difficult and how peer pressure can be. But I just want to encourage you all to put your personal feelings aside and remember you're here for the constituents to do what's best for the entire city. And you're never going to make everybody happy. And that's part of what happens when we're elected. And I wish you all the best. I would like to see it sooner than later, but whatever you feel is the best effort to make the right decision. Thank you.
Next we have Suzanne Todd. You need to unmute. I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yes, in regards to the 10 a.m. that the resumes have to be in, how many people would that eliminate if that is held in fact?
0.
It would not, so then everyone had theirs in by 10 a.m. then today. Is
Madam-
that correct?
I believe that was a deadline set by the clerk.
Yeah, there's no dead. Anybody can be nominated tonight, or when we decide on the time and date where we vote for the mayor appointment, we could nominate Suzanne Todd if we wanted to.
Okay, one other observation. Our city is now without a mayor, without a council person. And I believe that, yes, we want to be open, and several people are here who are interested and know who these people are. I believe we need a vote tonight to get this rolling, or this is going to go on forever. We just can't keep operating minus 2 people.
You in regards to that? Right now, as Mayor Pro Tem, I am doing the day-to-day activities as if the mayor was here. The only thing I cannot do is hire or veto. Everything else, including signing checks to make sure vendors get paid, I am doing. There's nothing lacking here at City Hall in regards to the position for mayor. So I just want to reassure you that we're not lacking. The streets are still getting swept. You know, maintenance is still being done to the roads. Everything's, building permits are going out. Nothing has stopped at all.
I'm concerned over what Treasurer Hicks Clayton had to say regarding we're going to be, I guess, investigated. And I think that we have to have something firm in action. We have to have something there. Otherwise, our bond rating could go down. Treasurer Hicks Clayton, how soon will that have to be? That they will come and investigate us?
Okay, so it's a review is what it is. It'll be by Poor's Standard who does our rating. We are right now, we've already started the bonding process when council voted originally to accept the projects to be bonded for, if you recall, back in October. So we've already started meeting and we're anticipating, from what I've been advised by bond counsel, it would be possibly as early as March.
Okay, so we still have some time then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 2 months maybe.
I have Nadia Barry. Whoops, I'm sorry, I muted you again by mistake. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
You hear me or no?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening to all. Thank you for your time. I think that the residents want to see this process done. We're tired of watching every week for you guys to decide on the council seat, and we're worried about the mayor's seat. If it is that you want a background check, let's just reopen the application process and specify that, you know, to people to consent to a background check. We should not continue to drag this process on. I know that it's not an easy decision, but the decision has to be made. That's why you guys are in the position that you're in, so we can make this decision, move the city forward. Let's get through this. Enough is enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Nancy Breyer.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. There've been a lot of good points made, and most people did have some. And although I have respect for Nadia, and I especially like what Ray has had to say, Leslie, Mr. Lobkovich, and Sam, and we set a deadline of 10 a.m. That should be followed. And my understanding from what we've been saying is at least one of these 5 people did not have their information in at that time. Now, the other thing is our charter is so outdated. How can we follow anything and then keep changing it? That's my thought. And I really think you ought to vote on when your 30 days commences and ends, and then stick to it. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, Colgate Street.
Madam Chair, just to reiterate, the council body did not set that deadline. I set that deadline because to give the council enough time to at least get an email from us, because there was a short period of time. So like the process is, I set the deadline though, okay?
So it's open until the meeting, actually, I thought. That's what I thought, but okay. Next, we have Zuhair Abdul Haq. Here you go.
Yes, I raised my hand many times, and I'm not that, smart to see how to raise my hand on this system. Anyway, good evening, everyone. I have been listening to this for almost 21 days. The clerk set 10 o'clock Tuesday a deadline. And we all know at 2 o'clock, I called the clerk's office and they said, Mr. Kanizik is not submitting his papers, so he's out. all of a sudden he is back. Is he so special that he is given this special treatment? Are we going to give the same treatment if I submit tomorrow my resume in my papers or somebody else? Are you guys going to let that person apply for the job? Madam Clerk? Are you going to accept application tomorrow and the day after? Nobody answer?
I'm sorry.
Put it on mute.
That would,
Are you going to let other people apply?
Madam Chair,
You don't have to answer that.
Madam Chair, we need to clarify this. An application is not necessary. You do not have to fill out an application and have it in at any time to be considered to be a mayoral appointment.
Okay, Tom.
At a meeting that we decide when we're going to appoint a mayor, anyone could be nominated. Anyone, any Dearborn Heights resident can be nominated for the position if they have an application in or not. The application request was just something which so gives an idea who's interested. It's not necessary. It's not in the charter. It might be necessary, but it's not required. I have better words.
My intention.
But it's not required to have an application in.
Okay, Tom, I agree with you 1000%.
Right.
That's why all this going around, you don't need any applications. You don't need anything to know about the candidates. You can do that later on. The charter is clear. If somebody doesn't pass the background check, doesn't do their job within the next 90 days, including the mayor appointee, you can remove him as city council. My issue is the mayor is dead. There is a vacancy. God rest his soul in peace. Because he died, there is a vacancy. It must be filled. It shall. The charter said it shall. All I see is somebody is dragging their feet. They don't want this process to take place. Last city council meeting, you nominated somebody and somebody seconded and you never voted on it. I wonder why nobody brought that subject, that there was a motion and second on the floor and nobody bothered to take a vote on it. I ask you to stop dragging this issue. You have great candidates. You know who they are. Go ahead. If you want to nominate somebody on the floor, go ahead and nominate them. But please, the city need a mayor and stop dragging it. It's your responsibility. It is your job. It is your duty. There is 170 participants. There is 58,000 waiting for you outside of this Zoom meeting to hire a mayor. I beg you to speed up this process and to start on it before, it's too late. And I thank you for what you're doing.
We have M. Shahadi. Sir, can you, I'm sorry, M. Shahadi, there you go.
Okay, great, thank you. I don't think voting today or next week to vet the applicants is going to make a difference. Unfortunately, the way I see it is the council is very divided based on their personal interest on who to vote for and not into what's best for the citizens of this city. This is embarrassing, and unless you vote for the most qualified person to run the city, I don't think dragging it or voting today or tomorrow is going to make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Constant. Councilman Constant, you already spoke.
I'm all set. I was going to answer, somebody said something about the charter. I was going to give my legal opinion, but I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I don't see any further hands. I'll give you a few seconds to, it is in the upper right-hand corner to raise your hand.
Madam-
Okay, we've got
I-
Mr. Drepkowski.
The iPhone's in the lower right-hand corner.
Good evening, City Council. Vince Drepkowski, Columbia Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan, Wayne County. I think you need to get back to basics. Do one thing at a time. We got 6 council members that can't even decide on a council seat. Flip of a coin can do that. If we're tied at 3-3, flip a coin, get it done. Then decide on your mayor. It's been done on other meetings. I can't see why you can't do it. All right, thanks. Good luck.
Anyone else? Sam? I'm sorry, Christina Laszlo. Go ahead, please.
Christy Laszlo, Dearborn Heights. Vince, I think this is the one time I agree with you. Council needs to appoint somebody on city council before they appoint somebody on mayor. Council as a body is very important to the city. 1/7 of a council is missing right now. You have a whole leader of a branch that is missing right now. The department heads are doing everything that we can to continue, and we will continue to keep the city stable. It's the departments that's keeping it stable. We've always kept it stable. Dearborn Heights is a family. We are lifeblood. That consists of you, Vince. That consists of me as a resident. I invest my money. I'm an investor. I'm an employee. There's people here with 70s homes. There's other people here that may just be a runner, but they're investing their time and their effort in this community. This is very, very, very serious, and it should not be taken lightly. Anybody that comes in could destroy the city in a matter of months. This needs to be taken seriously, and all council needs to be held accountable. Getting an extra council person on, I think, will help and really have these people do their researches, because political favors don't go very far when you're appointing a mayor. Thank you.
I'm raising his hand a second time, and I need to advise you, you're only allowed to speak once. And anyone else? Okay, at this time, I'm going to end the study session. We're going to take a 5-minute break and come back, and we'll start our city council meeting.